Hi guys, in the last 24 hours I've become very interested in the dams around South Carolina, in particular the dam I spoke about in the last video, Jocassee Dam, the one that's 300 feet above the Oconee nuclear power plant, connection to Cherokees, possibly connection to the IPEC Goat 2 video there. In terms of dam failures, we've been shown that over and over again. Evan Almighty is one of them. Game of Thrones, the very last episode of season 8, where the dragon is melting the ice wall, and it breaks, and all the ice is turned into water, and that floods forward. There's various other dam breaking films have been shown. In terms of politics, we have the talk of the wall and the wave. Now, obviously, the dam is constructed of a wall, and if the dam breaks, we get the blue wave. So I'm looking for an event taking place inland, particularly in South Carolina, and in relation to that, in 2015, something of a similar nature occurred.
The deluge was sudden and intense. When this road collapsed in Lugoff, South Carolina, sheriff's deputies put up barricades so no one would drive on the road. But for some reason, a man driving with a female companion did, and this is what happened. The county sheriff is Jim Matthews.
It was mostly submerged, but there was a piece of the vehicle that was out where she was able to get above the water and stay alive and breathe.
Rescuers got to the car. The driver was upside down as the floodwaters continued to rise. The woman, though, had her window open and was closer to rescuers, who worked to grab her.
They were able to get her out. I think she was holding on to one of the wheels of the car. But the man inside was trapped inside. They were not able to get him out.
When the water went down, fire officials and sheriff's deputies came to the scene, where they recovered the lifeless body of the man inside the car. All over this region, boat rescues have been taking place. Grateful people being brought to safety. Angela Williams is one of the flood victims.
What I got on my body is what we have. Pretty much everybody down that hill there has lost everything this morning. Our vehicles, our clothes, our everything. But the best thing is that we still have our lives.
Late this afternoon, many residents received recorded phone calls that nearby dams were being topped and to go to shelters.
This is JoJo. This is Evie.
And who are these three?
Mr. Fluff, Mrs. Fluff, and Fluffy.
And you've all evacuated.
Mandatory evacuation.
The Rodriguez family just arrived at this high school shelter after getting that phone call, and there is great concern.
My heart is literally coming out of my chest.
There is much flooding in this area. Incredibly, this is the 9th fairway of the Green Hill Golf Club in Lugoff. Sadly, it's now become the ultimate water hole. It has become a river with literally a current. 6 of the holes of this 9-hole course are now covered with water. And because we're so far away from the coast, most people here don't have flood insurance. So the owner of this golf course says it's very likely he won't be able to afford to reopen it. And with waters expected to continue to rise, an entire region wonders what might happen next.
So that could potentially be a model on which they have this plan for dam failure. Now, obviously the Hoover Dam is one that they've been pointing at quite a lot, but as I said, that could just be the representation of a dam breaking. And with all these different movie references to dams breaking, the political references to dams breaking, it's possible that the water, the rain, precipitation from Florence might be enough to maybe overtop some of the dams. But as I said, it could be that there is a, air quotes, terrorist attack on the dam. That is something that they've obviously talked about before after 9/11. And if that happens, then obviously the dam would be destroyed, and I believe it would be like a controlled demolition like 9/11, allowing all that water to just flow straight down the river, overtop the next dam in front of it, which is the Keowee. I can't remember the name, but either way, it then floods onto the Oconee Dam, and then we may have potential for nuclear meltdown. It's happened before in terms of a dam failure killing lots of people. There wasn't nuclear power plants at the time, but one of America's greatest tragedies is curiously absent from most US history textbooks. On May 31st, 1889, the South Fork Dam failed, and the ensuing flood killed 2,209 people living in and around Johnstown, Pennsylvania. The tragedy remains one of the darkest in American history, according to a list compiled by Wikipedia, which excludes epidemics. Its death toll ranks as the sixth worst in US history, coming in behind the 1900 Galveston hurricane, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the 1928 Okeechobee hurricane, the 9/11 terrorist attack, and Pearl Harbor. The far more infamous sinking of the Titanic comes in at 11th. So the fact that they can talk about the Titanic but not about this dam breaking and it being the sixth worst in history is curious. You have to wonder why that is. Why the Titanic captures the public's imagination while the Johnstown flood does not is a matter for historians and psychologists to debate. But surely a whole generation of Americans could be raised to appreciate dam failures if someone like Leonardo DiCaprio or Kate Winslet chose to raise public awareness about it, making a movie. Essentially, I'm not sure when this report was written, but we do have those movies now, which kind of point us to dams breaking, but they always tend not to be as popular as other movies, so not as many people see them. But obviously, a lot of us are aware of things like Evan Almighty. Apparently, that was played continuously a short while ago, so maybe they were just driving that point home. There are several different ways that a dam can fail. The South Fork Dam was an embankment dam, aka as an earth-filled dam, which was built using layers of earth and rock. I do not know, but I think the Jocassee Dam is a similar type of dam. This dam is susceptible to failure if water flows over the top of the dam, known as overtopping. As water flows down the front of the dam, it can erode its foundation, and obviously that could lead to collapse. A couple of days prior, heavy rainfall saturated the Jonestown area. We have a potential for that. Florence. The emergency spillway clogged and the dam overtopped. When the dam finally gave way, 20 million tons of water gushed out of the reservoir in a mere 45 minutes, devastating the area. At that time, it was the worst disaster in American history. But lessons were learned, apparently. Dams are now constructed with overtopping in mind. In the case of the Grand Coulee Dam, which is America's largest and located in Washington state, the dam was built with a ramp near the riverbed. On the front side of the dam, if the dam overtops, the water will hit the ramp instead of eroding the riverbed. Now that may be true of Jocassee. I really don't know. I haven't been able to really dig into the design structure of the actual dam itself. If any of you can, feel free to post it in the comments, link it to the comments. But we do have historical precedents for something like this happening. Water saturation, obviously overtopping is still an issue for dams, as this report was written most likely before 2015, where we saw at least 9 dam failures in South Carolina. That was only 3 years ago. I think I said 2 earlier, but 3 years ago. So, I don't know if they've managed to fix all those dams in that time or if they even bothered. Obviously, we've got a lot of reports suggesting that they haven't taken appropriate action to safeguard these dams against failure, and also to safeguard any nuclear power plants that may be downstream from these dams. So we've got a lot to watch out for in terms of what could potentially happen there. And I just wanted to bring you some kind of reference for you guys to know it's not just something you're pulling out of the air. It has historical precedents. There are reports about it. There's pretty much information surrounding dam failures all over the place. But obviously, it's not something that people really look into unless there is a sign of something like that happening. And I do believe that there may be a sign of it happening now. So that's why I'm making these videos. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.